Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Undertaker here. Don't mind all the cat hair. I was playing with the kittens. I want to talk about something a little more personal today. Personal in the sense that, like, this is a story very important to who I am and the life I'm living today. I want to talk about what led up to my detoxing from fentanyl. Which, obviously was the moment at which my life was saved for the future, because had this not happened, I probably wouldn't be here. I was on a path to destruction. I was smoking $1,200 a week, snorting between 12 and 15. And it was too hard to choose to put myself through that kind of physical discomfort. So therefore it was easier to just keep riding until the wheels fell off, because I had ran out one time before, and that time I'd run out, I had spent leading up to it trying to stock up on Suboxone, because I knew what I was doing wasn't going to be something that was just going to either end well or just go away, like many coke habits in the past had, or little benders in the past had. This was different. This had gone far, far, far beyond the point of being able to just put the shit down and be okay, or like just have to deal with cravings and like mentally no, there was physical repercussions that I had already developed for myself by this first point, which was about 7 months before I had actually detoxed and then went into treatment. And so that first time I'd ran out, at that point I wasn't buying straight fentanyl yet. How I even got onto fentanyl is I've been an addict my whole life since I was a young teenager. It started with weed. Then I found my dad was a doctor shopper, so I found his pills, and he had thousands of like Norcos and Xanax bars and shit. So I was stealing those, and I had a pretty rough patch in my younger years with those, and had to go through like a detox with benzos and shit, and that was rough, but I hadn't pushed myself anywhere near as far as I was going to one day. And so over the course of my adult life, I'd always kind of fell back in, and if the drugs were available, any drugs, I was doing them. I was broke for a long time, grew up poor, was a poor adult. I had to support my family really young, and so it was more of a matter of access. That was the only thing stopping me from going full bore into anything drug related, was until I got a good career, I wasn't able to afford to. And then so I got into the union, and I was still screwing around, right? But then I got to a job where I was working out of town, a couple 100 miles away. So I wasn't home during the week. I was staying out there. It was a big job, and I was already pretty well into like a coke habit that I had developed. And I had a friend who had a bunch of perks, a bunch of 10 perk 10s. So I started buying them. He was giving them to me for like $6 a piece. And I always start small, and I work my way into like full blown, just like uncontrolled fucking gluttony when it comes to drugs, right? So I was taking like a quarter at a time, because I wasn't on opiates leading up to that point where I started taking. I would take them if I had them, but I wasn't consistently taking them. And so I started consistently taking a quarter of a perk. After a few days, that became a half a perk at a time, a couple times a day, to where I was taking a few perks. Then that quickly built to the point where I was now looking for something stronger and cheaper, because now I'm eating $60 a day, just 10 perks a day, like within a month, you know, like that's how far it got. And then, so I found a buddy who was selling oxys, or the perk 30s, right? The little blue ones. They were being sold as oxys. They were not oxy. They were being sold as oxys because they're just pressed like fake oxys, right? And I didn't know at first, right? Like, obviously I knew what fentanyl was. I knew that they were faking them, but I knew this guy. I trusted him. He wouldn't fucking do that to me. And so, of course, he was telling me, like, oh, no, these are oxys. I was buying them for, like, $15 a piece. They were fucking strong, dude. I loved those things. I fucking loved them because I didn't need a lot of it. And I was suspicious because it's like Percocet and oxys are the same compound of codeine, right? They're both oxycodone. The difference lies within the amount of oxycodone and acetaminophen that's in something. And I think in Oxycontin, I don't know what the other ingredient in it. I don't know if that it's necessarily acetaminophen. It might even be something different. But I do know that perks have acetaminophen in them. And that's the key difference, right? Is the amount of the oxycodone and the other ingredient. Whether it be what it is or how much of it, I don't really know. I just know that perks have acetaminophen. And so there's these little pills, these little blue pills. And what I was doing at first was I was breaking them the same thing. I would take a quarter of one. I'd break them in all the pills I'd buy. I'd break them at first. I'd break them into halves, break those halves into halves. So I'd take a quarter. And that quarter would last for hours, few hours. I'd take another quarter. And that process grew quickly as well. Probably just the same as the other ones, right? I got to the point where I was taking a half, and then I got smart about it. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I'm like, these are small. They pack a punch. A lot less surface area. So my best thinking is, okay, well, that quarter, instead of taking the half, what if I just snort a quarter? Fucking great idea. Fuck yeah, dude. So I started snorting a quarter at a time, and that was good until it wasn't. And then I was snorting half. And then, mind you, I'm also drinking heavy. Like, that was really the one thing that stayed consistent, too, like, through a lot of my adulthood, is I was hard liquor drinker. Like, no matter where I was, I had a water bottle with me that had something in it. Usually Sailor Jerry's rum, because it's 46%. And it's easy to chase. Or Jameson. But I was drinking about a fifth of rum a day, too. And so, I'm fucking, and I took a lot of psychedelics, too. Love those things. Anyways, I was snorting a quarter of these every few hours. Then it became every, like, couple hours. And then I was at the room I was renting in the place I was working on a night after work. And, like, that was, like I'd get down at work, because the position I had, it wasn't easy, but I wasn't out in the field, like, you know, doing production work. I was fixing the equipment we used. And so I had my own trailer, I had my own shitter, like porta potty and stuff. So I had a fucking den. I had my own trap house, you know, and I'm not the only one who was doing stuff. I'm not going to give any more information, but I had a good group of guys that were willing to come and hook me up. I would hook them up. Cause I was doing coke too. I was doing a lot of coke. I was doing like a gram of coke a day at least, like with this, right? And that would fluctuate, obviously. And I'm not the only one doing coke. So, like, I have people coming in and out, doing lines, leaving me lines, giving me lines, fucking. And so, I'm at home, not home, but the room I rent. And I'm like, thinking, this shit snorts good. I'm like, you know, I've freebased dope before. I've freebased all kinds of shit before. I've learned that you can freebase almost anything that don't got too much acetaminophen in it. fucking, or too much like of a fucking, I guess you could call it cut. I always considered like acetaminophen in prescription pills is somewhat of like a cutting agent, right? So I've always been somebody who is, if it ain't got too much cut, or if it's a rock or anything, like if you need to smoke it, you can smoke that shit off foil pretty easily. And so that was my next thought. I was like gonna do another line. I was like, what if I just put this shit on foil and fucking trailed it? And that's what I did. And man, you want to talk about, like, a lot of people talk about taking like their first hit of like crystal, like out of the pookie, and that rush you get, like where like you hit it. Like I've smoked heroin, I've smoked all kinds of shit. Like I'm a fucking garbage disposal, okay? Like I'm not anymore. For a long time, I wasn't smoking weed. I take a hit of weed every now and then. I'm not ashamed to admit it. And I don't take chips at NA meetings because of it anymore, because I can't say that I'm clean. That's not being clean. They call it California clean. I can't go into a Narcotics Anonymous meeting and be like, oh yeah, I'm fucking almost 4 years clean now. Like I took a hit of weed fucking the other day or a week ago or something. Like, no, that means like you're a couple days clean. You know what I mean? Like fucking, like, so like whatever. Like I was disappointed in myself. Still kind of am, but whatever, dude. Fucking a hit of weed every now and then to maybe sleep a little better at night. Fucking a lot better than what it was. Anyways, you know, it's just about not progressing, I guess, or just, you know, maybe I just won't do it anymore. I don't know. That's not what we're talking about though. So that rush that people talk about getting when they take their first ever, like, hit of dope, or first anything, I guess you could say, kind of, there's like a rush, like in some sense, right? But like, it was like that same thing. Like I trailed this quarter of one of those pills, fucking, and held that shit in and blew it out, and it was like the rush, it was a different kind of rush. It was like this calm just sank over me. I've never been an intravenous user, thank God. I'm terrified of needles. I don't have tattoos, nothing. Like, I hate needles. That's probably saved my life too. So I don't know what that's like, and I never will. And I don't want to, and I never did want to, thankfully. Which is crazy because I wanted to know how it all felt. And that was the moment right there where it broke, right? At that moment in time, I'd only been using these things for probably about a month or so. And that goes to show you where my best thinking gets me. Nobody gave me the ideas to go from taking it to snorting it, to go from snorting it to smoking it. That's just all me, baby. That's just my best thinking. Yeah, so that was where it all broke. If I probably, you know, if I would have just stopped then, right then, and, you know, fought and scratched and clawed at myself to not do anymore ever again, I probably wouldn't have had any actual physical withdrawal symptoms. It would have been mental, and I'm sure I would have maybe had some trouble sleeping or, like, you know, like trouble eating, but I hadn't saturated myself. That hadn't even begun yet. This was the moment right there. That hit that I took off that foil, that was the moment that my perceived control of the situation, that illusion that I had, that I still could fucking like manipulate this, even though it was completely obvious I was completely sucked into it. That was shattered in that moment, because I was like, oh, that's my favorite thing now. Like, that is my favorite thing in the world, is smoking that pill off that piece of foil now. That just happened. Like, and all bets were off. It was just the immediate feeling that would hit me. It's not like it would blow me away, or my high would be better or different. It was just that 1 second, that feeling of smoking it and then it just blowing it out in that fucking second. That shit changed every bit about how long I waited, how much time in between, and even the thinking about that changed. I wasn't chasing the idea of maintaining a certain level of being high throughout the day anymore. I was chasing that few second feeling, essentially. And so it went from I'd be going to the bathroom or shutting my trailer door every fucking 2 hours or maybe 3 hours to, if nobody was around, it was like, oh, here's a slot of time. Let me hop in here real quick. Here's a slot. And it went from to the point where I was doing 1 to 1.5 of those pills a day, maybe 2 of the Perk 30s, because they were so much stronger than the Perk 10s. It got to the point where I was fucking within literally 2 weeks after I started smoking that shit off the foil, I was smoking five a day, right? And so now that's already more expensive than the Perk 30s. Well, that was also just the beginning. And so now I'm also starting to nod, right? I'm getting the nods and shit. So now I'm doing more coke too. And I was making a lot of money at the time. I was working tons of overtime. I was traveling, away from home. So I was getting paid to be away from home per diem, So I was making a ton of money for me at that time, not like a ton of money, but like a lot of money. I was able to pay my bills, put money away, and fucking at first maintain this drug habit. And then so this shit progressed to the point where I was doing like 15 of these pills a day, right? At $15 a piece. Fucking, so yeah, like $250 a day, right? And that's just on the pills. That's not doing the coke. That's not drinking. That's not fucking. Also, because I'm doing 15 of these pills a day, I'm nodding more, and now the coke isn't really doing what it was. It's more of like a leveling agent for while I'm not even nodded out. It's just like some fucking like demon in my brain that's telling me like, oh yeah, you need the coke to complement these pills to keep it going. And at this point, I'm still convinced that these things are oxy, right? And now might be a good time to explain how I found out that they weren't. So this is probably about 4 months into using these pills. And my aunt takes painkillers because she's in pain. She's got a lot of fucking shit wrong with her. So she takes painkillers. She's also addicted to them. So every now and then she takes more than she's supposed to. And she ran out. And my cousin knows that I am fucking hooked on these pills. He also still thinks these are oxys too. And every now and then I give him a little piece of one because he likes to party, but he's not like, he's able to just do a little tiny bit of something and then let it go for 6 months and then do it again. That's not me. So I give him one. I'm like, yeah, here. I think I gave him 2. And I was like, these things are fucking strong. You know that. Tell her don't take the whole fucking thing, right? So the next day, he comes back and he's like, looks like a ghost, and proceeds to tell me that, hey, yeah, so my mom took a quarter of one of those, and her and my dad were driving somewhere, and she passed out, basically, and was starting to turn blue. My dad had to rush her to the fucking hospital, and come to find out she was overdosing on fentanyl and heroin. So they had, the rest of the pills I'd given them, and they tested it, and the pills are just pressed heroin and fentanyl, basically, like a mixture. And I was like, what the fuck? I was mad. But nowhere near mad enough to stop using them. Fucking, so I confronted the guy about it, and he was like, no. I mean, I get them from Mexico, so I guess it's possible. La da da da. I'm sorry. But that didn't, the next thing was like, well, how many more you got? Like, you got more? I need more. Like, fucking shit. Like, oh, no way. And so a few weeks after this is, the time I run out. And I run out, and the withdrawal symptoms start hitting me at like 11 p.m. at night. And I'm trying to sleep, and I don't really catch on to what's happening here. But I'm trying to sleep, and my back starts hurting. But I like, in a weird way, like it's tight, and I can't get comfortable. Like I can't get like to where I can sit still and like be comfortable. And then that feeling sort of spreads throughout the rest of my body, and my stomach starts hurting, and like by the morning I'm fucking shitting liquid, and like fucking just like, and I wasn't able to eat the night before either. Thought like started like wanting to throw up and shit. And then so my best thinking, because I was gonna like, I ran out, couldn't get a hold of him, and then I was like, this is it, I should just stop, right? And so I was gonna not buy more. And by like 8 in the morning, I was so fucking miserable and uncomfortable that I was like, okay, I should drink, because drinking will help make me feel not like shit, maybe, because I'm the guy who in the past, if I was sick, I'll just drink, and like I'll drink myself through it, and I'll feel better because I'll be drunk at least, right? Or buzzed. I mean, I didn't really get drunk, but so I fucking drink a bunch of fucking rum. It doesn't do fucking nothing. In fact, I feel kind of shittier. And so it clicks. You're going through withdrawals, motherfucker. I was supposed to go golfing that day, and I had to call and cancel golf. And so I went to my car, and I know there's been times I've been in my car and I go to smoke and I drop a piece or something. And so it's like I'm on dope, and I dropped a rock or something. And so I'm fucking looking for a rock, same thing. And I had crystal. I didn't even think to do any of it. But I fucking find 2 quarters and fucking smoke both of them like back to back, and I feel just okay. I'm not like, fuck, but like I feel a lot better, because how I felt was much better than how I felt before, but I don't even feel normal, like in turn, like 100%, right? And there was just this like fucking 10-minute like fuck moment of realization. Like it was like, this is it. Like you're fucking, like you're hooked. You're like, you're not just like mentally hooked, like, oh, like you want this. You're like fully engulfed physically as well. Like now if you want to stop, this is going to take time. It's not going to be something that you can just put down and then you have to mentally fight it and maybe drink yourself through it with something else and like push yourself through fucking the wrong way. No, now there are steps involved and fucking physical pain that you have to willingly put yourself through. I'm not somebody who, unless there's money involved, which I guess in a way there was a lot of it, from January to June 2022, I fucking burned through like $50,000 that I would have had I not smoked it, right? Roughly. And so once that realization set in, I had to make a phone call. It's time to buy more. Fucking, I mean, I'm not gonna go through this shit later today too. Like fucking, and I called my friend I'd canceled golf with, who happens to be my best friend, and I actually cried. We were talking, and he knew I was doing these pills, but I told him, hey man, I know I said I was sick earlier, but I told him the truth. I'm like, it's not that I'm sick, it's that I ran out of those pills, and I was actually in full-blown withdrawals. Like, not full-blown. I didn't know how bad they could get just yet. That was coming. I was in fucking withdrawals. And he was like, I'm afraid, like in a roundabout way. The words that stuck out to me that he said is, I'm afraid I'm going to lose my best friend. Like, my best friend's going to die. Like, I worry about you every single day now, ever since you started using these pills and shit. Like, and so, long story short, my next thought after I buy these pills again after this is, man, I just spent $400 on these motherfuckers, and this shit's gonna last me like 2 days. What am I gonna do to make this shit cheaper? Start asking around. I'm in a pretty shady area, right, during the week for work, so start asking around. I talked to a guy at a Motel 6 where all the other guys are staying, under the guise of going to hang out and having a couple beers with the guys. Find a guy there who knows where to get fentanyl, just fentanyl, like in a powdered rock form. Wasn't like 100% pure, like fucking, lab grade fentanyl. It was just street fentanyl. So it's fentanyl, fucking just like street coke that you would buy. It's coke cut with probably fucking fentanyl like this. But it's fentanyl just cut with not fentanyl. You know what I mean? Like, it's fucked up. It's like you go buy any other drug. Any drug you're going to buy nowadays, it's fucking cut with fentanyl. Except the fentanyl is fucking cut with something fucking fucked up. Well, whatever. It's money, right? That's all it is money. It's fucking the devil. It's greed. So I find a guy, and he sells it for $100 a gram. And I got to try it. I go and get it. And I take just a little bit, because he's like, this shit's strong. Like, most guys tell me they only need a pin drop, and I'm like, nah. Okay, a pin drop. So I'm thinking like pen, like writing device, And so I put a bit, like a glob, like the size of 2 like writing pens, probably a little bigger. And I smoked that, and it's a small ass hit. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I blow it out, and I'm like, oh, this shit's way fucking stronger than those pills. This is fucking perfect. And so I really try, now that I'm doing this shit, to fucking take small hits, right? I don't fucking, try and like time them out, because like I'm convinced this shit's gonna kill me, right? And so, and I'm right. And I, that shit obviously doesn't last long. I start smoking more and more of it quickly. At first I was going through a gram every like 3 days, maybe 4. And then it got to the point where every time I was going, I was buying like 2 grams or even an 8-ball. And I was fucking going through that every like fucking 2 days. And so that lasted for like 4 or 5 months where I was doing that stuff. And the reason I was doing that was so I wouldn't have to buy the pills anymore. But then I would find myself in situations where I'd start running low on that stuff. That guy's not answering. I don't want to fucking run out at all. So better to have the pills than to not have anything. So I would have a stockpile of those pills, of about 20 of them. And for some reason, those things would start going at the same time as the fentanyl would. And so now I'm doing both, right? And I'm still doing coke. I'm buying less of the pills. And now I'm also getting a deal because I'm such a good customer, frequent flyer. And now I'm not just burning through all the money that I'm making, right? Just about it. I'm paying my bills, right? And all extra money is now being spent on this. But I had like $30,000 in the bank account that I had saved up. And that was by far the most money I'd ever had at one time in my life, by a long shot. And I worked really fucking hard to save that shit up. And from the span of finding that fentanyl to stopping, which, like I said, was like 4-ish months or so, I burned through everything I was making. And there was some $3,000 weeks take home, and all that money in the bank. And by the time I got to rehab, I had like 3 grand left, which, grateful as fuck. That's more than most people fucking get to rock bottom like that with, and I got so lucky. And man, this is a 30-minute video. Okay, so I'm going to leave this part here. And then I'm going to I'm gonna record the other part of it, and I'll fucking post that like later tonight or tomorrow. Cause fuck that. I'm just gonna go for the whole thing. So we might as well just get to the end, because I've had lots of close calls. I ran my car off the side of the road once, nodding out on a single lane highway. I nodded out, didn't remember there was construction up ahead, and I, thank God, opened my eyes to find that the whole line of cars had stopped in front of me, and I had to swerve over to the dirt and ended up going off the side, almost rolling down a fucking like 10-foot embankment, almost hitting a fucking pole that was actually would have saved my life if I did roll that far, because there was another 10-foot embankment that way. And God literally is the only reason I'm here. There was another time I was like parked on the side of the road with my car in drive, and I was like, oh, I better take a hit real quick. Took too big of a hit, nodded out, woke up 2 hours later with my foot still holding the brake in drive, where if my foot would have relieved any pressure off of the brake, I would have rolled into the car in front of me. Like fucking just with the foil and all the shit in my lap, like just really reckless. It was getting more and more reckless. Me and my longtime girlfriend of like 4 years, like fucking ended it. We were on our way down before that even started, so that was always gonna happen, but you better believe that was justification to keep the ball rolling. And so fast forward to the end of June, me, my cousin, a couple of people, or like, you know, our his partner that's also a foreman, we decide we're gonna go on a trip for 4th of July, and we rent an Airbnb at this in Lake Havasu, and we rent it for like 5 nights through 4th of July into like the 5th. And so we all go out there, and we're partying, we're having a blast for the whole time we're there. Fucking great trip. We had a pool in the backyard. We had my cousin's dogs and stuff, and it was just a fucking awesome trip. I don't remember most of it because I was just getting fucked up. I stocked up before I came. I drove out myself in my own car on Thursday after work, right after I went to the plug, and I stocked up on like fucking an 8-ball and like 2 grams. I don't know why. Thank God I didn't just buy 2 8-balls, because that's what, you know, drug me should have done if I really wanted to be sure. But because, you know, when you're having a good time too, things move quicker, right? Didn't bring enough coke, didn't bring enough dope, crystal, and so we get to Sunday night. Monday is the 4th, and Sunday night I'm getting low, and I know that our buddy is gonna leave with his family on Monday morning. He's not staying for the fireworks, but the rest of us are. And I'm getting low Sunday night, and so Monday morning comes, and I'm like, I got nothing, basically. I've got like 3 hits left, and I know that I need to leave because I'm gonna go through withdrawals hours away from home if I don't. And I've got also in my bag like hundreds of strips of Suboxone that I've been lying to my doctor, like this online doctor, and stocking up because I know it's coming. God put this whole like situation together, and it had to be like this because I wasn't gonna do this myself. But except for one part of it, I don't think God put that together. I think that was the devil. But so I'm not gonna say it. So our buddies and family is getting ready to leave, and I start packing my stuff. Well, I have one of my bags, can't find my other bag, and I can't find my car keys. And I'm like, where is my shit? And I know where I left it. And what had happened was my cousin had grabbed it and hid it in his truck, locked it in his truck, and would not give me his keys, wouldn't give me my keys. And he said, "You're not leaving." And I'm like, "Why? I need to go. I got to go home." I was like, "I want to go to work Tuesday." He's like, "Why?" He's like, "I'm your fucking foreman. Like, you're not going, like, why would you fucking, like, I'm telling you, you're getting paid. Like, you don't need to be there. Your bosses are here." Like, and he already knew, right? Like, he knew what I was doing. But he also, what I didn't know is at multiple times, I was so fucked up, this motherfucker had walked into the bathroom, I hadn't locked the door, and caught me smoking Fetty off the fucking foil and just shut the door, caught me multiple times. And I didn't know. So he knew that I must have been running out. And he finally, about an hour of arguing with him, almost gonna fight him, threw a bottle of whiskey at him and shit. Like, he dodged it, broke it, shattered it everywhere. He knew what was going on. And he was like, "It's time, man." He's like, "You want to quit, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Because I've also told him, like, me and him are close. Like, he knows me. So he knew I wanted to quit too. But I don't think he knew it was as bad as it was. I don't even think I knew either. And so he kept my shit hidden from me. And then so my best thinking, I used the last of it already before this. My best thinking was, I better start drinking now, because maybe I'll get lucky enough that I'll get so fucked up that by the time it leaves my system, the fentanyl leaves my system, I'll be able to just pass out drunk. And that kind of worked. And me and him got belligerent drunk, and I was being a fool, and he was trying to take care of me. His wife was trying to take care of me. And so like 8:30 p.m. comes, and I fucking pass out. And I wake up 4 hours later. And I'm not drunk. I'm not hungover. My body, it was like I woke up immediately into like an amplified, magnified, like version of what that initial withdrawal feeling I was talking about the first time I ran out. I woke up out of what seemed like a dead sleep into an immediate radiating like sense of extreme pain and discomfort all throughout my body, like, but my back and especially, and I'm sweating and shivering, and I finally am like, okay, where the fuck is Mark? Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I'm like, where? So my thought is, I need to get my Suboxone, even though one thing about Suboxone, the thing with Suboxone is you can't take it too early after you last used, or else you could go into precipitated withdrawals, because you still got opiates on your receptor and it's trying to kick them off, and it's like a fucking reverse magnetic effect. I don't fucking know. But so it had only been 12 hours since I last used fentanyl, and I'm looking for him and I can't find him. And I'm like, where the fuck is this motherfucker? And I've made the mistake before. So their bedroom door was shut. I knock, no answer. And the dogs are running around everywhere. So it's really weird to me. I knock, no answer. Go in the bedroom. Nobody there. Okay. Go to the garage. Nobody there. Go out front. Cars are both there. All cars are there. They didn't leave. They're here. I'm like looking, go check all the rooms. And then finally, I noticed that the blinds for the sliding glass door are shut. And I am not thinking. So I decide to go and rip the blinds open. And when I rip the blinds open, I see my cousin laid out on the thing, on one of the couches, naked. His wife riding him, looking me in the eyes. Well, she's riding him. And some woman, don't know who she is, come to find out she's a stripper, is standing over his face like this. and he's doing what I can only describe as inspecting her butthole. And I'm in such miserable, radiating fucking misery of pain, and am convinced that getting my bags and my Suboxone is going to stop that I rip the door open and I say, hey, I don't give a fuck what's going on out here. I want my shit. I need my shit now. And he said I looked so psychotic and maniacal and sweaty because I was going through these withdrawals already. He got up in his full glory and led me to my bags. Didn't say a word until he gave me my bags. He grabbed his, he spent so long trying to hide these things. Went all the way outside, got my bags, came in jogging like this, going like this, and he threw the bags on the floor, and he ran back outside. He said, I got 10 minutes left. And he's like, it's going to be okay. You're going to get through this. And he went back outside, and he just shut the door. But he left the fucking blinds open. So I had to go and shut the blinds. and there was no hesitation. He went out, shut the door, and everybody just reassumed their positions with the blinds open. And I'm a decent human being. So I go and shut the blinds because nobody wants to see that shit. And then I go about my misery. So I take the Suboxone and I cut it into strips because I figure, hell, maybe I'll only go into an eighth of precipitated withdrawals, or it'll help me feel an eighth better. I don't fucking know. Yeah, that's not what happens. So I go and I try and lay back down. There's no laying down. There's no laying down. There's no anything anymore. My whole body is just this radiating pincushion of restless leg syndrome, essentially. I can't even like stand like this in one spot without like feeling extremely just completely just like my skin is crawling and trying to get out of itself. And then this just progresses, right? It gets to the point where now every orifice of my body, from my eyes to my nose to my ass, is leaking. Like, basically, my stomach is fucking on, like, just feels like a knot on the inside, but like I can't even drink water. Water won't stay down. Fucking nothing will stay down. There was like fucking these like Otter Pops, Gatorade, tried all of it, immediately comes back out. And then so now I can't even control when the diarrhea is gonna come. So I'm like trying to run to the bathroom and sit on the toilet, and I miss, and it just fucking sprays all behind the toilet. And that poor Airbnb and Mark and his poor wife, after that fucking fiasco they were doing, like, they had a rough morning because there was no help I was able to do. I tried. I could not help. And it got worse, right? So I couldn't sit. I couldn't go to my bed. I tried going and sitting on the couch. I couldn't sit in one place for more than 1 minute. But I also didn't have the energy or the physical capability to move and try and go to another place. So it's this fucking, like, purgatory of fucking physical damnation, I guess is the best way to put it. And then it got to the point where when I was trying to like get up and move and go to another spot to try and fucking die, I had no more equilibrium. So I would stand up and I couldn't even balance myself. And I'd be walking, and I would be walking down the hall, and I'd be fucking boom, bouncing into the walls, and like not even able to like pull myself straight. Like, I'd be walking and just dragging on the wall and not even able to straighten out. And I broke like fucking 5 things off the wall. There was glass everywhere. I fucking cut my foot, but didn't even notice that I cut my foot. It was just bleeding every fucking where. And just freezing cold. Like, I went into the bathroom and I filled the bathtub with the hottest water don't even know how I was capable of doing that. The hottest water that I could put in there, and laid in it, and my body wasn't even normal, like temperature wise. There was no normal about it. I laid in there for like 2 minutes, and I was freezing still in the hot water, it seemed like. And then so that failed. Had to fucking dry myself off. I used like a fucking like 2 towels, and like I was wrapped up in a blanket. It was fucked off. So the next morning comes. They wake up and they're fucking furious because the house is a wreck. Not because, and they thought like I destroyed it, like because I was mad, like angry, and I'm like, dude, I'm dying right now. But they thought that I had destroyed this Airbnb out of spite. But yeah, they thought I destroyed this Airbnb out of spite. No, it was literally out of physical inability to fucking balance myself and severe discomfort and pain. So the next morning comes, it's 107 degrees outside by the time it's almost time to leave. And I was unable to help. I was sitting in the direct sunlight, wrapped in a blanket with fucking, I didn't have any sweater or jeans with me because it was the summertime in Lake Havasu. Why the fuck would I? And I was shivering still in the direct sunlight in this blazing fucking Arizona heat, right? And so it's time to leave, and we got to figure out a plan because Mark's got his truck and I got my car, and we got to go home 4 hours away, but there ain't no way in hell I'm going to drive 4 hours, and they had stuff they needed to do. So, and I think they knew if I would have got home, I would have made sure that I got more. I would have paid somebody double to bring it to me if I had to. And so I think that was another concern, which was valid because that was what I was planning on doing if I did get to California. So the next best thing we could think of, and it's like I'm already in the worst of it. So like the logical thing to do would be to just fight through the rest of it, right? But that's not what you're thinking in that moment. You're thinking, how do I end this now? And the best way would be to get high. But I had already taken the Suboxone too, so. And I kept taking more of it, and I wasn't getting better. And so what ended up happening is they ended up just taking me to some motel, and I got a room for 3 nights there, and I stayed in there, and I was barely able to make it up the stairs, and I had water and Gatorades with me. There was no eating, and so I was in that hotel room in that same amount of pain and that same physical state of hell that I was explaining earlier the whole time I was there. And the whole time I was there, people were calling me, and I had my phone on the charger just right by my face while I was laying in the bed. And I would get up and I would go and try to drink water. It would come out of me, but I was still pissing. Just nasty yellow, orange shit. And I was throwing up bile every time I would try to drink, and I was still squirting some kind of liquid out of my ass. And everybody was calling me, all like my my cousin, his dad, my mom, like people I work with, and they're all constantly asking me how, and I'm barely able to even like answer the phone, like, and fucking make calls and shit. And so they're asking me like, are you getting any better? And I'm like, no. And they're like telling me like something might be really wrong. Like you might want to consider like calling an ambulance, because there's no reason that you, like, it's been 4 days now. Like you should have made some progress. And what I come to the conclusion that the reason I didn't was because I kept taking Suboxone, thinking that it was going to help me, when all it was doing was precipitating the withdrawals, right? So finally, I make the decision. The best idea, my uncle convinces me. He's like, please call the ambulance. I call the ambulance, and they come and they fucking put me in a chair. They carry me down the stairs, and they take me to Havasu Regional Medical Center. And they hook me up to like IVs, pump me full of Ativan, and I immediately feel better. And not better, but like better than I did. And I have pictures of that, me in the bed still, which is probably going to be what the thumbnail is. But again, because I made a video about this before, but I figure might as well. It's always good to remind yourself. And, sometimes you remember things you didn't think about when recounting it before. Sometimes maybe there's a different perspective you have on this. But so I was in there for a few days. My mom has a friend that's director of operations at a rehab in Ventura. And my insurance covers it, so I was able to... I couldn't be discharged until I found a treatment center. That was interesting. They wouldn't discharge me. I guess there's some weird shit like that. Like I had to find somebody to pick me up, or a treatment center or some shit. Maybe I'm just remembering that wrong. So my mom and her friend come all the way out. My mom had to come too because I wasn't able to drive still. I still couldn't operate a car if I tried. I was barely able to walk and go use the restroom, even after being there for a day and being pumped full of... And so I ended up finding out that I was so dehydrated that had I waited another day, maybe 2 tops, I probably would have died of dehydration because I was only expelling liquid. I wasn't putting anything back. I was only getting rid of it. There was no water I was able to drink, no Gatorade I was able to drink. I was only able to, so I was dehydrating myself at a rapid pace on top of everything else. And so I ended up going to the rehab. 8-hour drive from Lake Havasu to Ventura County. And I was in there for 45 days, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And the only reason that this worked at all is because I actually wanted to do it deep down. I just needed help from God and people that loved me and cared about me to kick me in the ass, to push me in the direction and give me that push to be willing to go through the pain.
Hey, watch out for the door.
The pain, like that fucking withdrawals have, like the physical part of it. That was the only thing. It wasn't that I wanted to get high forever. It wasn't that I didn't want to stop fucking being so like dependent on this shit, because I most definitely did want to stop that. I wanted to for months. The only reason I hadn't was because she said, shut the door. The only reason I hadn't was because I knew already from a little brush with the withdrawals how fucking miserable it was going to be physically, and I wasn't willing to put myself through that. And so thank God, thank our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, that I had people that were willing to help me make that push, and that he was able to help me make that push and to give me the strength to get through it. Because that time I spent in rehab too, I learned more about myself in that 45 days than I had learned in my whole adult life leading up to that point. I was 28 when I went in. I never gave myself the chance to stop and take a break from life, because that's the perhaps biggest part of the rehab, is like you can't focus fully on what you need to be, what you need to do, who you are, what you need to change, why you even do these things, unless you can stop having to worry about life itself. Because I've spent my whole life just going and trying to like build a life, and I had to build from the ground up. I was born into a fucking pit of shit, essentially. So I never had a break. I never had a chance to stop. And that was perhaps aside of like, stopping and detoxing the drugs themselves, stopping and taking a break from everything and just being present in your own mind, facing something head on in the moment. That was where I even learned the fucking concept of presence and awareness, and how it's profoundly affects everything you do in your life. And that break, that stopping of life overall for 45 days was the most profoundly helpful thing in helping me get to the point I'm at now, where, you know, I haven't touched any drugs in almost 4 years, you know, 3 years, 9 months. And I guess I smoke weed every now and then, and sorry about it, but like, I haven't fucking lit the bottom side of a foil or a fucking glass pipe like that, or like, you know, so, but yeah, I just wanted to, I guess, re-record this because I talked about this once before. It actually got out to a lot of people. A lot of people saw it, and I figured I would give a more detailed account of how the whole arc, I guess you could call it, progressed. And like, it wasn't just that time that I was using the perks and oxys and fentanyl. Everything leading up to the starting of that was part of it, you know. All throughout my life, there wasn't this thought in my head that like I was an addict, or that I was like somebody who needed to be high, but that was always my truth, because it didn't matter what it was. If it changed how I felt, I wanted it, and I would do anything, because of not the perceived necessity. Like, oh, well, if I want to get high, I got to be willing to fucking, you know, inhale computer dust, or if I find a can on the fucking side of the road, because I had to spend all my money on fucking a hotel room or something to live in, like, and that mindset is what allowed me to get that far in the first place, and is the same mindset that could very easily allow me to get back to that if I fucking am not careful and I allow myself to. And so I guess, yeah, it's important to think about these things again, and reevaluate how you feel about them, and just readdress them in general. But well, we got something out of this. Hope you found it interesting. I'm gonna probably clip the shit out of this long ass video after I post it. But love you guys. Take it easy. And remember, if you're going through this, sometimes it's just gonna be hard to get to the other side of it. And if you really want to stop, you really want to get to the other side of it, just know you better be willing to be extremely uncomfortable for probably a decent amount of time, because that's just part of what it takes. That's not even the whole battle or the whole answer. You just have to do that. But also remember that if you really wanted to know and you asked enough people in your life, there's probably a lot more people in your life that really love the shit out of you and are willing to be there to support you and want you to get to the other side of this and to be the best version of yourself that you can be. But you can't do that if you're in the throes of an addiction like this. And just think about the profound effect it has on you just trying to let go of it. Like, how can you not believe that is the devil and evil that has you in its grasp? And everything good is worth fighting for. And to get your freedom back, you're gonna have to fight, but you will have that support if you ask for it. And there are so many good places out there that can help. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of fucking rehabs. That was one thing I learned about. I went to a really small one, and most people that were in there, besides me, were multiple time, frequent flyers, I guess you could say. And a lot of those people say there are tons of those places out there that are just there to get your insurance money. They don't give a shit. You're just, it's like going to a hotel. Like, you could probably even get loaded in there. And so you got to do good research. I got lucky that, I just happened to have my mom knows somebody like that works at one. I still, my insurance still had to spend like $70,000, but like, it was worth every penny. So you gotta want it. You gotta want it, and you gotta be willing to do what it takes to get it. But if you are, and you're willing to fucking be honest and open about it, you will get the help you need. If you have any questions, ask me. I will read them eventually and get back to them, for sure. Thanks for watching.